Welcome to the Twice Over Movies podcast. If you're new here, check out our website at thetwiceover.com to get a better understanding of how we do our movie reviews. Our goal is to provide insight on elements of a movie which you consider more or less important, so that our scores are never misleading. Remember to follow us at the Twice Over on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and support us on Patreon.
This your ship?
I am its commander, yes.
Where's it going?
New York City through the canal. You're a seaman.
Yeah, how'd I get down here?
You're acting aggressive because you drank too much alcohol.
No, I don't think so.
You told me you're an able-bodied seaman and you're looking for work.
I told you? Yeah, will you have any?
Why all the skulking and sneaking? Work cannot be that difficult to come by.
Well, it depends on when you're ready to go.
You shouldn't work in your condition.
No, I can work.
You're aberrated.
No, I'm not.
Know what that means?
No.
Welcome, everyone, to the Twice Over Movies podcast. This is your host, Faraz.
And this is your co-host, Fahad.
Fahad, today we're talking about The Master.
It's a movie I selected. How did you like it?
I'll get into my opinions of it as we go through the scores and stuff. So this is a movie directed by Paul Thomas. He's known for There Will Be Blood.
Whoa. You got to complete his name. PTA or Paul Thomas Anderson. Don't drop
Paul
the
Thomas
last
Anderson.
name.
Sorry, I went up to the middle name and stopped.
All right.
So Phantom Thread, he did that pretty recently.
Right.
So I haven't seen too many of his movies. I've seen There Will Be Blood, Phantom Thread.
You've seen it.
Struck Love, and this now. This was my first watch.
Yeah, I think you're only missing Boogie Nights and There Will Be Blood.
No, I have seen There Will Be Blood.
Oh, you have seen it. Okay.
Yeah, but like a long time ago and not in the best of circumstances. I think it was on a plane.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I hated Phantom Thread, and I'll just go out and say
I was also disappointed by Phantom Thread because of the
I
space.
did not enjoy this movie in particular either. I didn't hate it as much as Phantom Thread, but I still didn't care too much for it.
Okay.
But let's get into the details, I guess. We can talk about
because that's what this podcast is all about, the details. Let's get in the nitty-gritty.
Do you want to get started? Do you want to pick a category and go with it?
Okay, sure. So let's start with narrative, because that is going to be my lowest score for this movie. I gave the narrative an 80. I thought the pace of the movie was very slow, but that was intentional because ultimately this movie is about the characters. It was a character study of Freddie Quell and Lancaster Dodd. Lancaster Dodd is played by Philip Seymour Hoffman, the surrogate father, and Freddie Quell is played by Joaquin Phoenix, the surrogate son. So it's these two characters. They're often dueling. They're on the same side. It's a mix of both. Freddie Quell is this unhinged war veteran who's fallen to dependence on alcohol. So, and Lancaster Dodd is this charismatic, larger-than-life character, and he is. So the movie portrays Scientology, but it never mentions it by its name. They call it the cause in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So Lancaster Dodd is leading this movement in its early stages, and once again, the movie is about these two characters, and there's some sort of connection between them. They can't really pin down where they've met previously, and they're very different people in this movie. Freddie is chaotic, animalistic, and Lancaster Dodd is very controlled, charismatic, and commands the following of the people in his movement. So the score of 80, I gave it. That's mostly due to its pace. I found it slow as well. But what brings up that score for me is the great direction and the fascinating characters.
Okay. So this is also my lowest score for the movie, the narrative.
Okay.
So the story is slow, it's boring, and frankly uninteresting to me. I thought I would be more interested. So there is some fascination with, Lancaster Dodd or The Master, but the movie spends a lot more time focused on Freddie Quell, the alcoholic, creep, war veteran who's kind of like lost his marbles in a sense. The direction is strong, so pretty much the score that you're going to hear from me is only due to the direction, because I did not find this movie to be satisfying. It had zero emotional response from me. I guess there was very little clarity, and it was definitely not engaging for me. So I gave it a score of 55.
Ooh, okay. So
Um,
let me push back on a little bit on the things you said. You said it wasn't emotionally engaging, right? I found it to be the same. Emotionally was engaged, but I was always thinking about what's this movie, what's the scene talking about, what is this, what are the ideas being presented, and that sort of stuff. I found it very cerebral, not very emotionally compelling.
Yeah, a way I would describe it is it's like a movie that you would show in an English class in high school.
I would agree with that assessment. Yeah.
Less all the nudity.
Wasn't there only just one scene?
I mean, there was a couple, but like
Right.
when Lancaster Dodd is like singing and
Yeah.
we're getting
that was in
that was
Freddy's
a little
mind.
prolonged.
Yeah, that was in Freddy's head.
Yeah. But look, exactly what you said, right? You're not really connected on what's happening in terms of the story, but you're thinking like, what does this mean? And if that's all I'm thinking about, it's fine to like have that in the movie, but when it's the only fact or only thing, then it's a little, I don't know. The score speaks for itself, I think. I don't think I've been that harsh on any score on any movie, but I've also decided that I'm gonna try to use more of the range, right? So
Yeah. Sure.
it's a little bit.
It's a little bit of both. Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit of both.
Well, just out of curiosity, what would you have given the narrative score on a movie like The Phantom Thread, which we both talked about just now?
I mean, maybe we review it. I hope not, because I don't want to watch it. But
I hope not either.
it would be like it would be under 50, because 50 I consider just bad. 60 is like below average, and 50 is bad. So this is like between below average and bad. That's hands down bad, if not worse. So like 45, 40.
Gotcha. All right, fair enough.
All right, so let's go to another category, and I'm just gonna go to the other extreme. This is my highest score for the movie, and I think you can probably guess what that is. It is the acting.
Okay.
Definitely a bright spot for the movie, right? The cast is great. They're compelling. They're believable. It's one of the few things that can keep an audience interested for the movie, because the characters, like you said, they seem to have depth to them. So you're consistently thinking about like, well, what does this mean to the character? Why is this happening?
Yeah.
Again,
and trying to think of it from their perspective, right?
Yeah, exactly. At the same time, though, the same critique I had with the narrative, like I just didn't think they didn't explore the master himself enough, and it was more on Freddie Quell. Regardless, it got a 90 from me for acting.
Oh, okay. That's a pretty good score. Yeah. Pretty on par with what I gave it. I gave it a score of 95. So let me get into it a little bit. I thought the acting was very naturalistic. It didn't seem like they were reading off a script at all. Even well-acted movies these days, the pace of the dialogue spoken, it just seems a little off, and this seemed very natural. I don't know. There's something about it that I really liked. And great performances by, let's see, Joaquin Phoenix, Seymour Hoffman, Amy Adams, Laura Dern, a couple others. But there was not one bad performance in this movie. What did you end off your acting score with? You made a comment about something.
I think the comment I made, I just didn't like how little we got to know the master himself. Or
Okay. So you thought Lancaster Dodd was the more compelling character to explore rather than Freddie Quell, right? Because Freddie Quell.
Yeah, because I mean, in general, I thought it would be based on the title, and second, based on like I thought it would be a little more biographical on the guy who started the Scientology cult. So I was disappointed.
Okay.
You want to go to a next category?
Yeah, sure. Let's go to writing.
You want to go to writing? All right, sounds good to me.
So I gave the writing, which is defined as primarily the dialogue, a score of 90. The dialogue, I'll just connect it with the acting a little bit. Very naturalistic. It was free from exposition, which is a big thing for me. Like, a lot of movies tend to explore the plot through the dialogue, right? And since this movie wasn't really about the plot anyways, it could be free of the exposition. My favorite scenes in this movie were the dialogue scenes between Lancaster Dodd and Freddie Quell when Lancaster Dodd was processing Freddie Quell. He was asking him all these questions, and Freddie Quell was being forced to answer them in a very rapid and successive fashion.
Okay.
What did you give it a score of?
All right, so the writing, I kind of agree with what you said, but I didn't give it as high of a score as you. So the writing is well placed, like in the setting, at least for like the time period that we're talking about here, which is like 1950. And yeah, you're right. It flowed pretty well, where it didn't seem, the dialogue wasn't like relied upon for pushing a story forward. It was more like free flow, free and like natural feeling. And for that, I mean, I thought it was good, so I gave it a 70. But I didn't think it was that special. Again, same thing.
Okay.
Same critiques, I guess. It says that it's not engaging enough for me to sustain my attention to what's being said, because there's no it's not pushing anything. It's not pushing a narrative. So
it's not pushing narrative now.
So that's why I got a 70.
Okay. There was what were your highlights of the movie for the writing, at least? Was it the auditing sessions?
The auditing sessions, not really. I think probably the scene that sticks out to me is when they both they're both like booked for jail in Philadelphia.
Oh, that scene. Okay,
and
the prison scene.
Kind of have like a shouting match between the two, between Freddie and Lancaster, and that felt like
the most.
I mean, it felt real. I mean, it was a testament to the good acting as well here, and again, it just felt natural, and there was some, I guess, excitement going on there.
Yeah, because Freddie is like behaving as an animal, breaking the toilet seat and whatnot.
Yeah, and like Freddie, even like there's some truth being like spoken here where it's usually suppressed otherwise, where Freddie just, tells Lancaster straight up to his face, like, you're making this up as you go along.
As you go along, right?
Yeah, so
it was. I think it was the only scene in which he called him out. Otherwise, Freddie's pretty loyal to him. He never confronts the.
We can talk about this a little more. Let's get into the next category. Let's talk about themes, because I feel like that kind of falls into themes. So themes, so this is what I got out of it. All right, the two themes that I mainly took away. We're talking about narcissism and loneliness. Loneliness obviously would be Freddie, and narcissism would be Lancaster. And with Freddie, we get a pretty good in-depth look and idea of where he's coming from, how he's ended up where he is, why he is the way he is, and it's explored pretty well. But on the same tone, I'm like repeating myself, we don't get anything like that for the Master. We barely scratch the surface
about his origins.
He is a narcissist only because there's some moments where he's unwilling to like have a normal conversation without losing his temper.
Oh,
right?
Like in that scene
especially
where he calls him
getting
pig fuck, right? Where he loses his temper.
Yeah, exactly. Like when he's being questioned, pretty much, right?
When he's
so I thought the themes were pretty important to the movie, and this is probably what's worth talking about in the movie, like worth exploring.
I definitely agree with that. Yeah.
For me, it's just that the presentation of the themes is not that strong. That's why I got a 65.
Okay. Yeah, I found it interesting. The conflicts, right? The main conflicts that were presented: Freddie versus Lancaster Dodd versus the person questioning him in that scene in that house, right, in New York. He loses his temper to him. He loses his temper to him, but not to Freddie. When Freddie confronts him, it's he's able to brush it off. I guess just because Freddie's not grilling him. I don't know where I'm getting with this, but I don't think he sees Freddie as a threat.
Yeah. I think he thinks he has Freddie under control.
Right, but Freddie's also very elusive, right? Freddie disappears for, I don't know, years in a certain section of the movie. So he doesn't have him fully under control, but he doesn't see him as a threat either. Yeah. He has his loyalty, at least. My score for themes was 85. There were so many themes that that I found fascinating. And then just like one major one was something within grasp yet distant and unattainable. For Freddy, that's his relationship with Doris, who he claims is the love of his life. Yet he sabotages that possibility when he leaves for sea. He didn't have to go to sea. It was just for work. And in the scene prior to that, where he signs up for work, he convinces Doris to stay for him.
And that's to say, he doesn't come back.
Yeah, and he doesn't come back for years until after she's married and with kids, right? So
7 years, right?
Yeah, he pretty much shoots himself in the foot with that one. And for
I don't know how much we should be talking about these spoilers. I guess it's not really a spoiler because
not
there is
really.
no.
Yeah,
There's
the plot can't be really
except-
spoiled.
Yeah.
Let me continue a little bit. For Lancaster, the similar theme in that respect is the complete loyalty from Freddy. And while he has it from Freddy, the loyalty, Freddy's always like pulled away for whatever reason, whether it's his alcoholism or something else pulling him away. Another major theme I found in this movie was individualism versus subservience. So Freddy's with his chaos and animalistic impulses, he's very individualistic, and then Lancaster demands something more, subservience from his followers, and that's why he's called the Master. Certainty. Okay, so that's another major one I found in this movie. Certainty. When Freddy leaves the war, and the war provided some sort of like something to live for, I guess, right? For Freddy, it provided him structure and everything, purpose, right? And as he leaves, he doesn't find that. He's scattered across the country, holding down many different jobs, and then he meets Lancaster Dodd. But I think certainty for a lot of war veterans was pretty elusive, and the certainty that Dodd provided with his religion, with his cult, that's something that Freddy was attracted to.
Those are all pretty good points, and we can talk about it more when we get past the scores. Let's just get to the final category, which is aesthetics. This is photography, cinematography, audio, sound, music, everything. This is a pretty good part of the movie for me. I did enjoy the general tone of the movie throughout. Like it's got that old, like almost sepia, like high contrast look. It's very warm. The colors are very warm. The costumes or the time period is set well with the aesthetics, and the music is also well used. I thought there were some great shots throughout. One shot that like sticks out to me right now is when Freddy first gets on Lancaster's boat, and it's like the boat is going like setting off for New York from I guess San Francisco, right?
Yeah.
So the score for me for aesthetics is 80.
Okay, so I gave it a score of 90.
Okay.
The cinematography to me was amazing. It looked gorgeous, and it really worked for this movie because what that film, the larger film format allowed was close-ups of the characters, and it captured much more details than standard stock film would have allowed. So since it is a character study, the close-ups were very important, and I thought it was a perfect fit. Every contortion of the face was captured, micro-expression was captured. I also really like that wide-angle shot you talked about of the boat leaving the port, and also the moments prior when Freddy is stumbling across the boat, he's walking and it's nighttime and the boat is lit up. And
basically all the shots on the boat I liked.
Yeah, the boat scenes were excellent. I think they were one of the only wide-angle shots that we got in the movie. Maybe the desert scene. Also,
the desert scene, the one when he does go back in England and Lancaster's like sitting at his desk and you get like a wide angle of like the office he's in.
Oh yeah, sure.
That was a nice shot too.
Right.
Thanks for listening to this production of The Twice Over. If you haven't already, subscribe and follow wherever you get your podcast, and remember to support us on Patreon or by sharing the podcast with a friend. Feel free to contact us on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook at The Twice Over, or email us at comments@thetwiceover.com. All of the music you heard is from Amerigo Gazaway. Check him out on Bandcamp and Spotify.